When it comes to a time and labor management solution, you need a tool that will not only allow your employees to clock in and out and request time off, but you also need a tool to proactively alert your managers of any pending action items and give your management team access into analytics that will help drive business outcomes and efficiencies. So let's jump right into our employees view and discuss the different ways that employees can track their time within the system. First, we have a mobile app, which will allow your employees to clock in and out through their mobile device. And keep in mind that we can define geofencing restrictions to ensure that your employees are clocking in at the right location. In addition, we can also work with a variety of different hardware devices, which can range from simple swipe devices to biometric devices. And of course, employees can also track their time using the web portal as well. So let's take a look at how our employees can collect and manage their time. So right here on my dashboard, I have quick access to clock in or clock out and to change cost centers throughout the day. And by clicking here on the Change Cost Center button, I can then select the cost center that I will be working in. So as you can see, a list of available cost centers will appear for me to make my selection. And once selected, the user will then be notified that this transfer happened successfully. In addition, an employee is able to attach a document to their punch. So I can easily attach a picture of miles driven, pictures of completed work orders or completed projects, etc., for my manager to review during the timesheet approval process. Now, if I wanted to review my timesheet, I can access that directly from this same dashboard tile. This will take me to my current timesheet where I can review all of my time entries so far for this pay period, and if necessary, I can also request changes to be made to my timesheet through a timesheet change request. Here I can request that time be added or modified onto my timesheet, and these requested changes will be routed through an approval process before going into effect. The system also allows me to add any additional information such as tips, mileage, and expense reimbursements. In this example, I'm going to submit an expense that occurred today. So first we'll need to enter in the date of the expense, and then the type of expense. And then finally, we will also need to enter in the dollar amount for this reimbursement. Now, in addition to simply tracking these expenses, I can also upload a copy of my receipt for my manager to review as part of the timesheet approval process. Then, once approved, the extra pay will flow over into payroll. Now let's take a look at how an employee can request time off in this system. Right from our dashboard, we have instant visibility into our accrual balances. And keep in mind that we can establish rules which could require an employee to have enough time accrued to accommodate an upcoming time off request. In this example, let's request a day of vacation. When completing this request, we can identify if this will be a full day, partial day, or multiple day event. Then we can select the date for this request. And keep in mind that there is an optimized rules engine in place, allowing you to set rules around how an employee can take their vacation. For example, you could establish rules around blackout periods or maybe to allow only a certain number of employees to be out on a given day. Then if there is a violation against this PTO policy, the system will create an error to identify that restriction. And finally, you may also enter in a comment for this request if needed. Now, if you are putting in a time off request on a day that is not available, you will receive a warning message. In this case, I will go ahead and submit my request anyway so that we can take a look at what the approval process will look like. And then once this request has been submitted, a notification will alert the manager that the time off request is now ready for their review. Now let's take a look at how our managers can utilize the system to help manage their workload. When our manager logs in, they will have everything that they need in order to better manage their employees right here at their fingertips. So right from the dashboard, they can easily manage any of their day-to-day tasks. And keep in mind that any to-do item will trigger an email notification to the manager prompting them to take action. Now here you can see that time off request that we just submitted for our employee is displayed as a task under the time off awaiting my approval window. And remember, we can set rules around your time off policies, so by the time it reaches the manager's desk, it should be an easy approval. That said, maybe we want to check out the time off calendar first. Here we have our time off calendar that is currently being filtered for the current month. Now you have the option to view this on a weekly or annual basis as well, and each type of time off is color-coded for better visibility, and any pending time off requests would be identified here on the calendar as well. Then right from this calendar, we can see if there are any other employees who are out on this particular day, and we can determine if we would like to approve that request. As you can see, due to our time off policy, there is a reminder that there are no slots available, so in this case, we will use our discretion to approve this request. Now keep in mind, you can set up multiple levels of approval based upon your business needs, and once this has been approved, a notification will go back to the employee, letting them know the status of their request, and then the time off can be exported to their calendar. Now we can move forward with approving the timesheets. Again, right from this dashboard, we have access to a window displaying all of the timesheets that are pending our approval. The manager can approve all of these timesheets at once, or they can review them on an individual basis. Now, there are checks and balances in place to flag any missing punches so that we can make sure that everything is correct before we send these hours into payroll. We can see here that our employee has an incomplete time entry, so let's skip this timesheet and approve the rest. Now, I can drill down into this timesheet to make this correction, and I can easily locate the missing punch as it is highlighted right here on the timesheet. It appears that this employee did not clock out at the end of the day, so let's correct this punch. Keep in mind that the system is capturing all of these changes in an audit trail. We can capture who made the change, when the changes were made, the old value versus the new value, and which IP address the change was made from. In addition, notes can be left against the timesheet to provide additional information about why a change was made. If there is ever a discrepancy, you can always look back to that audit trail to get a better understanding of what happened. And once you have finished correcting the missing punch, you can move forward with approving the timesheets. And then once these timesheets reach final approval, they will be ready for payroll processing. Now, our managers are looking for a tool that will give them visual insights into their team's operations, allowing them to view key metrics, analyze trends, and prompt them to take action when needed. So our managers can create these custom dashboard reports to give them that much needed insight as to what is going on within their department. So while we're here on the team dashboard, let's take a look at some of these analytics, which will take us into a deeper dive around the attendance concerns for our team. Because attendance is so important when it comes to managing your team, you can use this attendance board to see in real time who is in or out of the office at any given point throughout the day. On this dashboard, you can also flag any missing punches. You can see who's absent, and you can also track any other attendance concerns. These attendance issues will trigger an email notification to management so they are aware and they can take any necessary action. Now, understanding that labor costs are such a large business expense, it's also important that our managers get a good pulse on the labor associated with their team. So here on the time dashboard, I've created some analytics to get further insight into what makes up our labor expenses. Here I've created a chart that shows us how many total hours were worked in each cost center for a defined date range. Now, as we dig into our labor costs, one of the biggest reasons for unnecessary labor costs is overtime. So in looking at this overtime trends report, I can quickly identify if my overtime is an isolated occurrence or if it's a reoccurring event. And I can drill down into this data directly from my dashboard to get further insight. Now, in order to better control overtime costs, you really need a tool that will give you instant visibility into your overtime so you can quickly take action and cut those unplanned labor costs. So here I've created an approaching overtime report, which will automatically alert management of those who have worked over a certain number of hours. And having this insight will allow managers to be more observant of how their employees are spending their time and will ultimately help to prevent that unnecessary overtime from occurring. In addition, this dashboard provides tools to help understand where the majority of your overtime is coming from. So essentially, you can monitor these overtime metrics so you can see which cost centers have accrued the overtime and which employees make up those overtime hours. These metrics will help to determine if the overtime is a problem for one employee or a concern across the entire team. You can evaluate these metrics to help make strategic business decisions, such as reallocating the workload or possibly hiring a new employee. And to view these metrics in further detail, we can drill down into these reports directly from the dashboard. To get better insight into where my overtime is occurring, I'm going to begin by grouping this report by cost center. So this has helped me reorganize my data for better visibility. Each cost center is listed here on the left, and the cost center totals are displayed here on the right-hand side of the screen with a breakdown of all of their employees underneath. In addition, I can get more detail and analyze my overtime trends by changing the date range associated with this report. So you can change the filters within a report to look for a specific calendar range, a date range, or a pay period. And we can also filter this report for more information around specific employees. When it comes to reporting, each report has ad hoc reporting features where managers can pull information into their reports as needed. The current columns displayed within your report are listed here on the right, and on the left, you can search through a list of all of the available reportable columns. So let's do a search to bring in the hourly pay. Then we can use the up and down arrows so we can decide where to display this column within the report. Once we are happy with the placement, we can apply these changes. And now we can see the hourly pay column has been added into our report, and once you've configured this report to your liking, you can then save those settings. When saving, you can also share this saved report with other managers across your organization. You can also export this report, so let's take a quick look. As you can see, you can export these reports into one of the standard export settings as listed here. And you can also choose to have this report delivered right to your inbox for easy access. Also at the bottom of this screen, managers can create charts and visualizations based upon the metrics collected within this report to get further insight. In addition, we have a guided analysis tool. This valuable tool will help assist in the analysis of your data. As you can see, when using this tool, you are able to easily pull metrics to get better insights into your overtime across different cost centers or managers. You can also get a breakdown of how work time is being distributed by demographics, etc. So let's take a look at an example. First, we'll need to choose the cost center that we will be evaluating. Then we'll want to review our weekly overtime hours and our regular hours. And finally, we can establish the date range that we are interested in evaluating. Once ready, we can simply click on the Assist Me button. And this brings up our Insights Explorer results. So in this case, we're able to get a better handle on how work time is distributed by employee demographics based upon the filters that we had selected. Here we can see the regular hours and overtime hours broken down by ethnicity and age. We can also expand this report to include gender as well. And at the bottom of this report, we can see that the system has created additional charts to better visualize these demographics. I hope you were able to see that when it comes to managing your workforce, this solution will allow you to get the insights you need by providing the right tools to help you better manage your team, control your labor costs, and allow you to make more strategic business decisions.